Good. Yep. I suppose I'll have to take my socks off. I know, I was just like, oh, cold feet. So just pop that. Right. So welcome. Lovely to see folk tonight, and nice to see Iona online as well. I'll be really honest. I've had quite a week, and I hadn't planned this at all, which is very unlike me. Like totally unplanned. Except in my head, I have eagle pose. So that's where we're going to go from. We'll start. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to teach you effectively. It just means that this could be fairly creative. Sally's going, oh no. So, right. So we're going to start anyway. We're going to just check in. Now, just some options here because I've just been working with somebody recently. And we look very closely about how we sit and how we all those habits. So when I sit watching the TV with my leg dangling and my hip out to the side, always my left hip out to the side on the sofa, and that is putting me off kilter quite a lot because this hip is opening more than this hip. So it's just bringing that awareness into your practice in yoga as well, because we can develop very one-sided habits. So just consider that if you're cross-legged, it may be that if you've got blocks, you want to pop them up, your knees up, so you're not opening hips too much, or it just depends if you're comfy, really. So I'm just going to uncross and allow myself to really lift and center. And it's finding that balance. So on your sit bones, finding that evenness so that you're feeling that you might want to move to just even yourself up and just be aware of that balance on both sides. So that's maybe where we're going to focus today. So just take a moment, allowing yourself to relax, relaxing the shoulders. Just lengthening gently through the spine. And just allow the breath to settle. Or bringing that focus gently to the inhale and the exhale. And we're going to start off with our hands together gently at the heart. And bringing your hands gently at the heart, we're going to work with the breath. So we're going to inhale as we bring the hands out to the side. So just inhaling. Some of you have done this with me before. And then we exhale, we bring the hands together. As we inhale, we're going to drop the chin and bring the hands to prayer as if they scoop behind the neck and lift all the way up. And we exhale as we bring the hands down gently to the heart. So that's inhale out. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, hands to the heart. Just take a pause, just let the breath settle. Inhaling, open. Really opening the chest. You can take the gaze high, exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, hands to the sky. Exhale, hands back down to the heart. And it's a lovely rhythm to play with if you're just wanting that moment with the breath and movement and synchronize the two. So we're going to just come gently to a twist. And as we do, we're going to think about twisting from our thoracic spine, so the kind of midline, rather than twisting from the waist. So we're going to inhale the hands all the way up, coming across to the left-hand side, so twisting the whole of the torso rather than just at the waist, and then forwards if you need a lishka, that's it. And just gently breathe into this. Inhaling, lift the hands to the sky, come all the way back to center. And then as you turn, think about that turn from the middle of the back, exhaling as we come gently into the twist. And breathe in this. All the way back to center. And we're going to come to all fours. So if you've got a blanket, do put it under your knees. It's absolutely fine. If you haven't, no problem at all. Just coming back to that neutral spine, that stacked back position. So allowing yourself just to connect with the mat and just getting comfy. And that might be that you tuck the toes, it might not be. It's wherever you feel best. And we're going to start with some cat-cows. So this time I want you to really think about the weight in either hand. So maybe just to start with, push the weight into one hand and then into the other. Just becoming aware of that balance. And then push the weight evenly into the hands and then draw a little bit of an activation into the arms and the shoulders. And then on an inhale, dropping the belly, looking forward. And then untucking the toes if you wish and rounding the spine. Inhaling, looking forwards. Tucking the toes if you want to stretch through the feet. Exhaling, rounding the spine. Untucking the toes. Inhaling, looking forwards. And then exhaling, rounding the spine. Just pause here, tucking the toes again and hovering the knees gently. So you really are in a hovering cat here. Bringing the knees gently down. And we're going to take the hips to the heels. So we're just going to stretch back the way, just allow a stretch through. That's it. And you might want to widen the knees slightly if you need. So coming to an active child's pose with the head high. And then maybe bringing the head towards the mat. Stretching through the side of the body and then bring yourself all the way back up, back to that stack position. And we're just going to anchor now. This is the other important thing. So we're going to use a kind of threading the needle flow movement. But what I want you to do is really push away from the mat again. Inhale, exhale, and feel the core engage. Okay. And I want you to really recognize that feeling of central kind of midline. So, and just think about the pressure you've got in your left hand at the moment and try and keep that the same as we lift the right hand all the way up to the side and exhale the hand floating through. We're going to inhale the hand all the way out to the side. Now, if you want to, you can open the side body and create a stretch here, exhaling the hand all the way through. Inhaling, lifting to the sky or out to the side, wherever the shoulder is comfy. Exhaling all the way through. Bring yourself back to center, replacing the hand. Keep the weight even. Gaze down towards the thumbs. And then as you inhale, we open the arm on the other side. Exhaling the arm all the way through. Inhaling the arm open. Exhaling all the way through. Inhaling all the way open. And exhaling all the way through. So just some flow all the way back to center. Now, if you want to come off the wrist, please do, because you can do this by just coming to the forearms. We're not going to take a forearm plank. All we're doing is taking the right leg long and just allowing a little bit of movement back and forwards into the leg. You can do that on wrists, or you can do this just, if you're using your hands, you'll get maybe more of a a length in the movement. Just pausing if you need. And then swapping sides when you're ready. So just extending that leg, pushing gently through the back of the leg. Remembering to just not forget the core. And we're not corseting our breath, so we're drawing and dragging our core in, but we're just inhales and exhales. Knees back to center. And we're going to leave the right knee as the pivot. And as we do, we're going to pivot on the right knee and take the left foot to the end of the mat. And this is why if you have a blanket, it's quite a good thing to have, so that the foot comes out behind you. So Grant, your foot comes out, if that's no, the other one. Your right foot, that's it. So you see my right foot is behind me. Okay, that's it. So we're in a little gate pose. So I've got knee lined up with that's it. Okay, and extend that right foot. As we do, we lift the right hands to the sky. So your right hand, that's it. And then you're right there, Alishka. Right, so I'll go, let me do it this way. I've gone, so if you're balancing, yeah, that's it. It's just because we're all on different angles. That's it. Okay. And then as we lengthen, if we move gently towards and over to the extended leg. And then drop your right hand towards the mat and come across with the left hand. So just opening up the side body. So a little gate pose. All the way back, right hand, extending. Working really slowly with the breath. Hand comes down, left hand comes across. Working in threes at the moment. All the way back, inhaling, lift. Exhaling, right hand comes to the mat. Now, as we now lift, we're going to lift the left foot and bring, if you can, into the left hand. If not, you can continue just that side plank. You can even draw it up if you wish. So what we're now doing is if you want to push the left hip gently out, you can do, or whatever hip you've got on top. Dropping all the way back down, turn and pivot towards the mat. And then we're going to come to plank. Let's even up in plank. Just taking a moment here into plank. And choose a little vinyasa. So I'm going to come down to chaturanga. I'm going to come to up dog. And then I'm going to come all the way up to downward facing dog, or all fours if you wish. Just moving in downward facing dog. And then come all the way to the mat, back to the mat. You're now going to pivot on the opposite side. So this is going to be, I've confused you all with what sides, whatever side. That's going to be my right leg extended this time for me. Right and left are just not my forte, are they? All right, so we're going to lift the left hand, lift the hand that is away from the extended leg and allow that to come across. And then flow gently, lifting the opposite hand as you move away from the extended leg. And then draw back and forwards, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Either staying here in this supported side plank kind of variation, or lifting that extended leg, catching that top foot if you can, and opening the hip gently, pushing the hip forwards. Bring the knee back underneath you. You're going to pivot towards the top of the mat. Allow yourself to come to plank. And again, a vinyasa of your choice. So it might be chaturanga, meeting in downward facing dog, or child's pose. If you've got a rug on the mat, just popping it to one side. If you have blocks, and I'm not organized enough to bring everything up tonight, but you can use them on your hands in vinyasa, and it gives you lots and lots of space with the up dog. I've got a squeaky mat tonight. And then we're going to just bend our knees, and we're going to walk our hands all the way to the back of the mat. And allow yourself to come into a forward fold at the back of the mat. Allow the head just to dangle wherever the hands are comfy. And I'm going to inhale to flat back. Your variation, my hands are going to come to airplane arms. I'm just enjoying that variation at the moment. And then I'm going to sweep all the way up, upward salute. Hands are going to come to the heart. Interlacing the hands gently behind and knuckles down. I'm just going to gently open the chest and feel that real connection with the feet. Sweeping the hands all the way to the sky, inhaling. Turn the palms all the way out and exhale. Push the breath through the hands. This is almost you're like resisting the air. Interlacing the hands, gently drawing the chest open. Exhale. Sweep the hands all the way to the sky, inhaling. And then exhale the breath out. So you draw the core in, inhaling, hands to the heart. Exhale, forward fold. So we're going to come all the way gently forwards. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold again, but walk your hands to the top of the mat. We're going to come all the way back up to downward facing dog from plank. Meeting in downward facing dog or your alternative. And then hopping or stepping to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, rise. Inhale, hands to the heart. Anchor the left foot. We're going to come to one-legged mountain. So really anchor that left foot and feel that connection as you draw up all the way. We're going to step with the hands behind us, this foot to high lunge, but the hands in like airplane arms. So just come to high lunge with the back. So there's a little bit of balance going on, I think, tonight as well. And then we're going to sweep the hands up, inhale, and gently drop to low lunge. Quite a 90-90 low lunge. Yeah, Grant, do stay there. That's, if you're not wanting to drop, that's absolutely fine. Exhale, push the hands back and bring yourself back up to high lunge. Sweeping forwards, inhale, lift back to your balance. And this is where we're going to play with eagle. We're going to draw that front leg over and bring hands to the heart. So we bring in Garudasana legs. Gently unraveling. We'll do this a couple of times and add to it. Back to mountain. If you need a drink or anything, you need to shake or change any layers or anything, do just keep yourself comfy and find your balance in mountain. So we're going to connect now on the other side. So really feel that midline and that balance to connect with that right foot. Find your drishti, find your picture that you can look at now, which is lovely. Inhaling, lift very gently. So keep that balance, really work on that balance. Sweep the hands gently behind you as you come to high lunge. Option to stay here, high lunge, and you can bring your hands to crescent moon if you wish, or crescent moon and drop to low lunge, totally up to you. Sweep the hands behind you, push through that front foot as you lift to high lunge. Sweep gently to the front. We're going to come to that one-legged mountain. Real concentration. And then sink in the knees, bend at the knees. Allow yourself to wrap to eagle. Gently unraveling the legs back to mountain, hands to prayer. And to Tadasana. Inhaling, sweeping. Exhaling, half fold. So your version. Draw yourself to Uttanasana, to forward fold. Hands are going to plant, take a child's pose or vinyasa, depending. You can take your vinyasa. Meeting all of us in child's pose. Or if you want to keep it active, do downward facing dog. You know, you always have choices in my class. And just allow yourself a moment. Remember that if you have the hands forwards, you're going to be higher in this pose, and so you may want to play with the pose. That might be comfy. You may want to bring the knees together and tuck the head. You get more of a lower back stretch in the traditional Balasana pose. And then allow yourself to just bring yourself to the back of the mat. And we're going to tuck the toes, taking little toe squat. Just a little bit of yoga for the toes at the back of the mat. And let's add in a little bit of balance. Anything to do with your knees, you can take this a little bit wider if you want and soften the knees and bring this into Malasana. Just taking little toe balance. Again, work on that drishti, work on that center line. Evenness in the right and the left foot. Calm, clear breath. Opening the chest. And hands back to the heart. Well done. And we're going to walk the hands forwards, come up to plank. Play in plank here. So just take a moment in plank, knees down if you need. And then take a little pause in downward facing dog. And allow yourself here to really focus on connection of the hands, shoulders engaging, which allows the arms to activate, engaging the core, the hips, sit bones, and evenness in the weight between the hands and the feet, allowing the neck to relax. We're going to come to the top of the mat. So you now, if you want to, you can step all the way back up to mountain, or you can anchor the left foot, lift the right into tripod. Keep the knee and the thigh, the front of the thigh facing the mat. So don't let it turn. Don't let your leg turn. So to do that, don't lift your leg too high. And then that leg comes all the way forwards, stepping into like a low runner's lunge here. And we're just going to step to the top of the mat, into that forward fold, into the flat back, and then all the way back up. Hands to the heart. Take a moment again if you need. So it's always a good opportunity if you need to keep the water going. I've had my lecture this week. I am attempting to drink 2 liters a day. I'm finding that totally impossible. And I'm not cheating. I'm not making it up with decaf tea and coffee, which is what I said I was definitely drinking 2 liters a day. Oh, but is it water? No. So allow yourself to come to mountain. and just settle. Observe the breath. Observe the connection, the soles of the feet. Really feel as if your feet are like Spider-Man feet on your mat, and they are really suckered to the mat. And keep the weight even in both sides. Now, as we do that, just relax the shoulders. And then allow the weight to shift gently to the left as you free the right leg as it comes up. Now, option here to keep the left hand up, take the right hand to the knee and either hug the right knee in or open it to the side. If you have a full big toe pose, you're very welcome to take. I'm going to just keep it like this at the moment, supported. Don't worry about the balance. It's okay. I'm challenging everyone tonight, including myself. Go on all the way back, hands all the way to the sky. Sweep the hands behind you. We're going to come to that high lunge again. Really gentle movement here. Keep your focus. Inhale, lift the arms. High lunge, crescent moon. We're going to bring the hands all the way down to the mat as we then take the knee down to the mat and allow the right hand to settle as we open. So you can open twist here. Keep it upright, that's it. Bumps joining in tonight. You're doing brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly. All the way forwards, lift that back leg up. So we're now in this active runner's lunge. Sweep all the way, push through their feet and lift all the way up to high lunge. Sweep the hands behind you and then take the knee, just drop the knee at the back. Inhale, lift all the way up. And as we do, we're going to bring the hands to prayer, step all the way back to that one-legged position. Now this time we're going to take, if you would like, Garudasana arms and legs. So if your right leg is wrapping over, your left arm wraps under as you sink into Garudasana. That's it. And I'm having to concentrate as well. We're going to unravel the leg, keep the arms. You might need to just cheat and put your toe on the mat because you don't quite know where you're going yet. And then we're going to see if we can come to Warrior 3, Garudasana arms. There we are. Just gently step the leg back and then bring Garudasana arms. You can do eagle arms as well, feathers I call them. So you don't have to wrap the hands as well. It just depends on your shoulder. And then open. Whoop, and vinyasa. So just taking a little vinyasa here. Take your time. Plank, chaturanga, wherever you go, to either child's pose or downward facing dog. Take some breaths here. While you just bend the knees and step to the top of the mat, into forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Take a moment. And then root to rise. So allow yourself just to gently come all the way up. All the way back to mountain. Again, find that balance. Anchoring the right foot. Lift. Hands to the sky, one-legged mountain. Left hand is going to come down to the left knee, opening and supporting. Inhale, lift to the sky. Now we're going to sink to Garudasana, arms and legs here. So my left leg's going over, so my right hand is going under. You can always just do feathers. Unraveling, we're going to step to that high lunge. Brilliant. And then from high lunge, Virabhadrasana 3. Unraveling the hands, bring them to the mat and step to runner's lunge. You can either just take a runner's lunge here, or you can take that easy twist by left hand on the mat, push through the right heel and lift yourself to the sky. Really support this with your feet. All the way back into the runner's lunge, take child's pose or vinyasa. So to plank, really enjoy the vinyasa. Meeting in child's pose. Allow yourself to sink back. Really allow the body to relax. Allow yourself to breathe into the torso. Moving from child's pose back up to downward facing dog. Just moving through. We're just going to take, so if you're not doing downward facing dog and you're just on knees, you can take a little cat-cow, or you can come into a little squat into malasana. If you are in downward facing dog, we're going to come up and over. So we're going to come up onto our toes and then out to plank. That's it, just practicing that squat, practicing that breathing. Stand you in good stead. And then we're going to come push back the heels, push back the hips, bending the knees, and then lift all the way back up to downward facing dog. All the way up and over to plank. So we're going to play with this wave action. Bending the knees, pushing the hips back. So it's almost like a kind of a leopard springing pose, lifting the hips. We then come into downward facing dog. Last time we come up and over. Hips back, bending at the knees. All the way up to downward facing dog. And either take a child's pose or take a vinyasa. Or stay in downward facing dog. Totally up to you. Wherever you are, we're going to walk the hands to the back of the mat. To fold, we're going to join you. We're going to step the feet out and gently, just gently sinking. So you might want hips side to side, gently sink back down to malasana. Hands can be on the mat. Now you can take a moment here in malasana and you can just practice that squat. Now heels don't have to be down. You might have heels up. You can always put blocks underneath them as well. You might want to come onto your little perch in front of you, and you might want to play with placing the hands in front of you and just starting a little movement here. You might want to rock the hips up and then find your little perch with a little kind of knees to the back of the arms. So we're starting the beginnings of little crow pose. If you have a balanced pose, you're very welcome to come into that balance pose and just hold if you wish, or play with it. Really thinking, if you are playing with the balance, of engaging and lifting that core and finding that balance point, and try to not look under so much that you rock into a forward roll. So just playing, it's just playing. That's all it is. It's just finding that confidence to push the knees in, engage the core, so taking an inhale, maybe lifting one foot, maybe lifting the other, and just playing with that back and forwards. It's fine. It's fine. It's playing. And if you're wanting to think about how that feels backwards, it's always really nice. And this is where I'm just about to go off on one. So you might be there for a while, Anishka. So you can just relax for a moment. One thing that you can do is come to your back and you can pretend that you're going to do crow pose. So you can have your hands to the sky and you can start to kind of find that little crow pose by trying to see if you can get the back of the knees up to the back and just playing with that little crow pose. It's quite fun, and you start to work out where potentially you can get the shape to. And if you think that's totally bonkers, just have a bit of a rock and roll and just play back and forwards. Okay, good. Someone joining in, they'll know these tunes, you see, by the end of it. Indeed. So just coming back, and let's come to Dandasana. Let's bring ourselves forwards. Again, if you need to adjust, use the blanket just if you need to just tip up, and you can use the blocks as well. If you've got blocks there, you can use the blocks by the side to bring. If you're sitting on a blanket, sometimes you're not like Mr. Who was the one with the Mr. Man who was long arms? That's the one, the red one. Was he orange or pink? Oh no. I used to have the entire set of Mr. Men. Did no? You can get little cuddly ones. Find them. Sorry, Iona, we're off on one. So just coming into Dandasana, she knows me only too well. And let's really push the back of the legs into the mat. And just take a moment here. If you wish, you can stay here, but if you want to, we can play with a little reverse tabletop. So you might want to change your wrists to where they're comfy, and mine are comfier forwards, but a reverse tabletop is where we lift the hips, we keep the feet in line with the knees, and we open the chest and push the hips up to the sky. Watch the back of your neck, don't let it flop back. So we're keeping the gaze towards our third eye, as it were, towards the ceiling. You can extend this if you want to into a reverse plank. Pushing through the feet, through the hips. It can be quite challenging to see if you can get those feet down. So if they don't go, don't push them. Back into Dandasana. And just allow yourself just a moment. And in fact, I'm going to play with one of my nerve flossing things. So we're going to come into the beginnings of a boat position. And just use your hands gently to support you. And just take one foot and give it a nice wiggle. Let's go for a wiggle. Just allowing that movement in the ankle. Foot comes down, let's have a wiggle on the other side. Relax, you can even, you don't have to have your hands supporting you. You can use your hands to support the leg, hands on the thigh. And however you're comfy, so whether that's your feet are coming straight down or whether you just naturally come back into a little seated position, I want you now just gently to drop kind of the ear to the shoulder and just allow the ease of that movement. Just gently, and then maybe circling the neck, or even just that yes and no with the head, that gentle nodding. One thing that's quite nice for the neck is to drop the chin towards, you have to be careful with it, don't overstretch, but you can drop the chin to the collarbone and you get a very gentle stretch down the back and the side of the neck, but just don't over egg it. I have no idea. Oh, wow. So I will say I've just done a flow tonight, and this is probably I would probably do a lot more wild things and fallen triangles and all sorts, but it's very similar to how I would practice personally at home. I just go off on one. Loud music on for me. It's funny. And we're going to take the hands gently, and we're just going to interlace the fingers and just gently push through. And as we do, we're going to bring the hands forwards now, and we're going to just allow our knees to come forwards, coming up into all fours and into plank. Now, if you're not going into downward facing dog or tripod, you can do this by working on all fours and just gently circling the knees, small movements, nothing majorly stretching. If you want to join me, you can come up into downward facing dog. We're going to anchor the left foot, we're going to lift the right into tripod. And then gently we're going to just open the knee to the side. You don't have to open the hip right back. You can just actually if you're in tripod, fold the heel to the kind of the glute, and then open the knee. So I'm actually not opening the hip right to the side. It's a slightly different variation, slightly easier on the hip. And then we're going to bring the knee all the way into the nose. So lifting knee to nose. And you're very welcome to just shuffle the right foot under into a falling triangle. All the way back. Slide it back to downward facing dog. Anchor the right foot. Lift the left, not too high, into tripod. Keep it controlled. Folding, bend at the knee, the heel to the glute, so it's still facing forward. And then open the knee rather than the hip to get a slightly different stretch. Bring the knee all the way into the midline, all the way knee to nose. And then just float that left foot out to the right hand side into a falling triangle, side plank variation. All the way forwards, back into downward facing dog. We're going to meet at the top of the mat. So however you want to get there, you might want to step all the way through the midline, or you might want to jump, inhaling your way to flat back, or a roll up if you wish, sweeping the hands all the way up to mountain. Hands to the heart. Allow the shoulders to roll back. Now we're going to come to Utkatasana. So we're going to inhale, lift, and we're going to sink to Utkatasana. Now you can bring hands to the heart if it's easier, and you can stay here working on the legs, or we're going to come to revolve chair, and you can inhale. Remember to bend it, kind of twist it thoracic. You can just gently twist revolve chair. Again, you can stay here or come back to center, or you can step that right foot back and step into an open kind of side twist. So I'm opening on the same side. Yeah, it's about balance. Turn it all the way to the front of the mat. So in a kind of a high lunge-ish position, step forwards. Sweep the hands all the way up. Utkatasana, sink. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale as you turning through the midline, the thoracic spine. Or working in chair. Opening the same side, maybe stepping back, so a little balance here. Turning the hands to face the front of the mat. Stepping all the way front. We take a balance at the front of the mat. We're going to play with just Garudasana, just the balance itself. So when we come into Garudasana, we soften the knees to start with. So that equal balance, that equal weight in the feet, softening the knees. That allows us to wrap the legs. So we're really sinking, and that allows us hands to the heart if you want to just gently work with the balance with the legs. That allows us to lift. I'm lifting the right leg and then wrap gently. Bring the gaze forwards. Now right leg is on top, so left arm is going to go under. Wrapping at the elbow. Might be feathers. It might be Garudasana. Focus the breathing. Ujjayi breath if you need. Unraveling gently. Unraveling the legs. Balancing tonight, Sally, challenging us. Give them a good shake if you need. In fact, just take a bit of a shake and a wobble if you want to. You're very welcome to. And then when you've done that, come back to that center. Sinking gently, hands might come to the heart. Wrapping the opposite leg. So that's my left leg over. My right leg comes, my right leg, my right arm. Oh dear. I think I'm going to get one of those Sharpies and write them on like hands, I think, for me. And then that would confuse you, wouldn't it? Unraveling when you need. Hands to the heart. And pause in mountain. Maybe even closing the eyes. I've brought my feet just together, and I'm really challenging myself on that feeling of grounding in both feet. And then just gently folding, allow yourself to fold. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling all the way down. I'm just going to come gently down to my knees. Sweep the feet to the side. Allow myself to come all the way to seated. And taking a moment here, I've ended up in my favorite position in boat, but you don't have to. So you can either just take a moment here, or you can come into little boat balance if you wish. Very much up to you. Might come into a full boat if you want to. The CrossFit's paying off. I may be under the weather, but with my back, no. I'm having to build my strength again from the lines, and it's been pretty bad. And so I started doing a little bit of CrossFit, very gently, with a personal trainer. And it's incredible the difference that strength training. Recommend it. It's amazing. So come all the way back up, and then maybe come to Dandasana. So one thing that's really good for the bones is, yes, our yoga, but yoga is all about the kind of the flexibility and the strengthening and the stretching, but it's not about the kind of the resistance to strength and that building of strength by putting weight onto, or and running is also good for things like that as well, because it's the impact. Yeah, I'd recommend trying it. So inhale, exhale, we just come into a gentle twist or stay forwards. It's really good for osteoporosis as well. Is that kind of weight resistance training? Just put that out there. Inhale along with cold water dipping and everything else we're trying to do to keep ourselves healthy. And all the way back to center. And we're going to come all the way down to our backs, and we're just going to work gently on our back. So come down and bring yourself so that the spine is just engaging with the mat, and allow the knees to come together and the feet either side of the mat. And just take a moment here, just observing how you feel. And bringing the feet just gently in line with the body. Again, you can use a block if you want to put between the knees. We're going to come to bridge position, and we're going to lift our hips up. So by just putting the block between the knees, what you're doing is you're engaging your inner thighs as well. And it's great for just building that core, building that strength. Make sure you've got space between the chin and the chest. Brilliant, Alicia, you're managing them. Gently drawing back down to the mat, just relaxing back down. And then coming back up into bridge, just pushing through the hips, maybe coming to the heels, maybe walking the toes gently. You can still be working with a block here if you wish. And gently dropping the hips back down to the mat and walking the feet out and knees just coming together into constructive breath pose. And just take a moment here. And if you want to, your choice, I'm going to come into a supine twist, and I'm going to just stack the feet, the knees, and I'm going to just shuffle to one side to allow the knees to come to the other side. So by just moving my hips slightly across, I'm giving myself more of a kind of supine twist, but I'm making sure my shoulders are remaining in contact with the mat. And looking in the opposite direction if you would like to. Hands can come out to the side if you have room. All the way back when you're ready to center, and just allowing yourself to turn to the other side. Slowly Transitioning from the practice to relaxation, you might wish to bring the knees into the chest, Upasana. That might be that you're rocking, or it might just be that you're allowing the spine to be fully supported. And then, whenever you're ready, and there is no rush, finding your warm, cozy, snoodly things. Your blankets, your socks, your hats, your gloves, whatever. And this is where you have the luxury at home, Iona, that you can gently slope off with a nice hot drink to bed. And we will see you soon, I'm sure, but just enjoy your Shavasana. I'm looking forward to the birds singing and the sun shining. I think it's fair to say February. It's a nice month. So there we are, just allowing yourself gently to settle wherever you are, whether you choose to be seated or not. And as you settle the breath and as you settle the body, I want you to become aware of the sounds beyond the yoga mat. Allowing yourself to focus on the breath. Allowing the body to just relax a little more. And then just bring your attention just a gentle inhale and a gentle exhale. So you're consciously just moving the breath. Bring your attention to your fingers, the palm of your hands, so that you're consciously moving the fingers. Bringing your attention to your toes, so you're consciously moving the toes. Maybe just gently rocking the head, just side to side. And then allow yourself, when you're ready, to bring your whole attention back to yourself, back to the mat. Allowing yourself, and only when you're ready, to turn onto your side and move yourself very, very slowly back to seated. And bringing the hands gently together. And inhale. And exhale. And thank you so much for joining class tonight and being with me. Thank you. There we are. Just take your time. Iona, it was lovely. I'm going to stop the recording and I will see you very soon.
Yeah, thanks, Tanya. See you later.